Admiral's Log. Today marks a monumental triumph for the Chinese Navy, as we emerged victorious from a decisive battle against the might of the US Navy in the treacherous waters of the Yellow Sea. Despite the loss of 4 of our own ships, our resolve remained unbroken as we dealt a devastating blow to our American adversaries, sinking 24 of their vessels and shattering their dreams of naval supremacy. With this formidable American force vanquished and the path to victory laid bare before us, the Chinese fleet now sets sail for Pearl Harbor, the strategic heart of the Pacific, where the stage is set for the next phase of our campaign. Hawaii, with its strategic location and formidable defenses, will serve as a stepping stone for our forces as we continue our inexorable march towards the shores of the American West Coast. Hey guys, Stealth here, welcome to episode 18. We are looking to invade Pearl Harbor. This is going to be our stepping stone onto the west coast of the United States. Of course, the US is not going to quite sit idly by and let me just take it. They have sent a fleet headed up by the Iowa of the Kentucky class, armed with a couple of 14-inch guns, backed up by battlecruiser Chippewa and Franklin and Ranger. These are armed with those 17.3-inch guns. They're somewhat scary, but last time around I encountered these guys, they didn't have any armor. At least not in the areas where it mattered. So they should be pretty easy to take down. Outside of that, we got a couple of light cruisers and some destroyer escorts. Now my fleet is almost entirely heavy cruiser, led by the battleship Zhao Hui. This is an Enigma 1929 refit, so she has the most modern gear that I can afford. She's backed up by a lot of the Mecha Medic cruisers from 1927. Most of these have been refit. And a couple, there's even a Jolin in here with a couple of torpedo launchers. That's a really old cruiser, but she still holds up. And those 9-inch guns can make life on the light cruisers rather complex. So, let's take the fight to the Americans and prepare to invade Pearl Harbor. The American fleet has been detected on the horizon and it's already on, as we get more and more range with these newer guns. The Zhao Hui has these 13-inch guns, which can travel 21.5 kilometers. Still not great. Oh, sorry, 21.5, not 12.5. 21.5. It's still not great. I would love to have better range on my guns. But, well, you're going to have to sacrifice some firepower, in the sense of rate of fire, if you want to be able to achieve that by making the barrels longer. I'm still researching the better guns, but it's probably going to take me a little bit of time. Now, we've got 2 cruise divisions here. Liaoning, Duda, Laiwan, Nixia, and Jiwan. As well as the other one on the other side, headed up by the Liao Bei. As for the destroyer, it's trailing the other cruise division. It's not really going to make that much of an impression here, because it's only got one 4-inch gun and a couple of torpedo launchers. I might be able to use it, though, to cut off any of their escaping ships. But right now, I don't really care for that. What I care for is eliminating some of these cruisers. This is the light cruiser group. These cruisers carry tons and tons and tons of torpedoes, and I am not interested in getting massively swarmed by these things. Their torpedo range, let's have a look, 11 kilometers, so we're getting close to that range already. My torpedo range is 10, so it is entirely possible that I'll start receiving torps before I'll be able to hit them. Let's have the cruise division go as quickly as possible. Oh, this is one of the older cruisers, the Kill Zone. Like, this is a really old cruiser. I think this is from right at the start of the campaign. She's been upgraded. She's now sporting 10.1-inch guns, which is the Mark IV, no less. So, it also has better range than the battleship. But it's slow. It's only doing 20.9 knots, and it's slowing down the rest of the division. So I'm going to pull the kill zone off of this division, allowing the rest of them to speed right back up to 27 knots. And with that speed, I can get potentially a more favorable position. Now, of course, these CLs are smoking up as they bridge the gap towards my position. It's going to be a bit of a problem. Got them in range. I only got one launcher on these ships. I'm a bit tentative to use that right now. I don't think that's the best option. We can probably just gun these things down. And then we're going to have to take a very close look at these battle cruisers, because their guns are massive, but their armor is not. And that is going to be their undoing. Also, please note how this is a cage mast. And I'm not sure exactly how that bridge is going to navigate, because it has a couple of massive 17s, and then, what is that, an 8.1? Yeah, it has to be. It's the only 8.1 on the ship, but it's just enormous relative to the rest of the ship. These things, however, do not have armor. This thing does. American battleship. Lots and lots and lots of guns. Decent amount of armor as well. So I'm going to have to deal with that thing, probably with the use of extensive amounts of torpedoes. Now, one problem that I am facing with this particular battle is I don't have any sonar. I don't have any escort ships. Yes, heavy cruisers can be considered escort ships, but in the Dreadnought improvement project that I'm running, they don't have hydro. So they cannot detect incoming torpedoes, which is going to be a massive problem, especially if the Americans are using torpedoes that are hard to spot. I'm going to put both of these divisions on auto-torpedo dodging, so that if they come under attack, at least we will have some opportunity for them to dodge the torps automatically. As for the lead cruiser here, this one's going down. Start tasking the battleship with taking down the next target. There we go, that's one. Doesn't mean it's harmless though. This thing can already put a lot of torps in the water. Yeah, those torpedo launchers are looking the wrong way. They could have torpedoed this heavy cruiser group. Good damage on the next one. As long as we can knock off these torpedo launchers with HE, or AP, whichever works, before they're launching, I would feel a heck of a lot safer. Good hit. Good hit. That was a 9-inch shell from the Rehe, causing massive damage here. There we go. Quickly now. Flooding. Engine damage. Conning tower destroyed. Oh, sorry, no, yeah, the fire control has been destroyed, not the conning tower. She's gone. That's two. Not seeing any torps yet, but that doesn't mean anything. And the ship is not identified, so I cannot use that to see if the torps are underway. Okay, once all these escort ships are dead, I have a much safer time approaching the battleships. My heavy cruisers will definitely take some damage getting there, but they can seriously threaten that battleship now that it's no longer protected by the hydrophones from these light cruisers. Torpedo in the water. If there's one, there's gonna be a whole lot more. Let's turn the the heavy cruisers around. There you go. That's the third light cruiser eliminated. Excellent job. Now then, let's go, not for the battleship, but if we can target it. Okay, fine, we'll go for the battleship, because the battle cruisers are in smokescreen, making them unnecessarily difficult to hit. Yeah, okay, we should be fine if we just kind of level the course. Oh, that was a massive hit. That was the 10-inch guns from the very old kill zone, crippling this, what I think is a very old light cruiser. Or is that a DD? That's a DD. What's with those walls next to the funnels, though? That's weird. It's only sporting a 4-inch gun, so it can't really be a light cruiser, because those would... Oh, Jesus. Because those light cruisers would have bigger guns. Good thing I kept these ships turning, because that is a lot of torpedoes. And these torpedoes are 22 inchers, so they're not to be taken lightly. If this cruiser just slows down a touch, we should be fine. I'm not sure if it's actively doing that. Dude, what are you doing? Ow. Oof. Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't exactly save this ship. You can make the case why you didn't even try. True, because I know that in the Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts improvement project, the ships just work a little different. They don't turn nearly as well as you normally would expect. And that means that your ships just, well, they lag. And that makes them a bit unpredictable. Or, well, rather predictable in their inability to dodge any torpedoes. As for these ships, you're home free to launch your torpedoes against the battleship. You're only 5 clicks out. The battleship is currently engaging what I think is a heavy cruiser. I only got heavy cruisers here. Okay, this thing took the torpedo like a champ. It should be fine. Let's evacuate you nonetheless. Because they are pretty expensive ships, these. It's 293 million for a cruiser. That's another CL gone. No, that's a DD gone. Flash fire. We took another DD out. Another flash fire. Kind of by accident, really, these kills. We're not exactly targeting these per se. Just happens that they get to be in the crosshairs of my fleet. How's that battleship doing? That's Iowa. 41,000 tons. 14.2 inch guns of Mark II. And that could be their undoing. Because the Mark II just does not fire very quickly. Now we got torpedo launch from Rehe, Liaobei. That might be enough. That's this div. Let's tell this div not to launch any further torpedoes. You're actually crippling the battlecruiser already, aren't you? You're targeting the battleship. Good. It's just pretty heavily armored. At least the main belt, but everything else is a bit of a joke. 1.5 inch main belt, or 1.5 inch fore and aft is not going to cut it. Even cruisers will be able to pen that, if it wasn't for the fact that this thing is bow in. But overall, these Mark IV 9-inchers, they're deadly. Oh, Liaoning took a big hit there. What happened to you? 14-inch guns. Yeah, that'll ruin your day. You're off the line. And here's the battlecruiser Chippewa. Are you going to have torpedoes colliding with the ship anytime soon, Iowa? Yeah, and it's a dud. Well, there's more on the way. 2 here, another 4 or 5 there. The DD was part of the division, so it also pitched in. That's excellent news, because this is going to be impossible to dodge. And that's 2 hits. Serious damage to the American ship. Liaoning, however, is taking more fire. There's another torp slamming into the Iowa. The Americans are going to have to get out of the way, because we're going to Pearl Harbor, whether they like it or not. Put your secondaries on the destroyer, because you still got the 8.9s. Might as well make use of those. We got... Is this 2 heavy cruise divisions? No, it's one of them. Okay, maintain speed. Chippewa is pretty much dead in the water. And most likely is, yeah, properly dead. Wait, you got torpedoed? By what? Not by me. By you. Thanks for the assist. They managed to torpedo their friend. No, it was the Anderson. Yeah. Torpedo hit. Well, I guess their hit rate's pretty good. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't a friendly, or it wasn't a hostile ship. That was a lucky dot on my ship. Yeah, I'm not going to torp that. A risk of torpedoing my own ships is there. However, let's have you disengage. You're going to make a run against this ship by yourself. Which is a bit adventurous, but we should be able to get it done. Start putting pressure on the Ranger, use armor piercing, and put some secondaries on the DD. Now, the Ranger is one of those American battle cruisers that is surprisingly mildly armored. 5-inch main belt is not going to work. My guns at this range of, what, 4 kilometers or so? Yeah, 4.2. We can deal some serious damage. At 4 kilometers, we can pen about 5, 6.5 inches, give or take a few, depending on angling. And that's much more than even the main belt has. So these ships are going to be in a lot of trouble. In the meanwhile, as we're preparing the main gun salvo on that, I'm going to put the torpedo launchers on the Franklin. You're targeting... Yeah, you're targeting Franklin as well now. Alright, we got torpedo launch from Ningxia. It's more flooding on the Iowa, but there's also some trouble headed for the Liaoning, which was part of that division that I told to slow down, so it's kind of stuck. These torpedoes... Yeah, it looks like we got 1. My battleship has taken almost no damage here. And is currently putting a lot of pressure on the Ranger. Holy mother of God, what happened to you? You got hit by a 17-inch gun. Twice. Yeah, so you're gone. You're not sticking around here. That's a way too dangerous fight for you at the moment. G1 is an older ship that still comes with underwater torpedo launchers. Maybe... Yeah, we might be able to get some hits from this salvo, and then I can have another torpedo attack go in from this ship. But this Iowa... Well, she's fighting her fate. Flooding. 10% buoyancy left. 9. She might be gone. Where's the other cruiser div? You're properly dead in the water, aren't you? 2 damaged engines. Dude isn't going anywhere. Can you speed up a little bit? No. There goes the Iowa. Very nice. And now we can finish off the Ranger and go after the Franklin. The real problem is, one 17-inch hit and I might lose a cruiser. You're currently targeting the Liaoning, which is badly wounded over there. They do have a pretty good chance to pen it. There's the torpedo hit. And that has me a little concerned, because there's not really a whole lot that I can do to angle against the 17-inch gun. I think the Ranger's going to be pretty dead. Yeah, there's flooding on both of these battle cruisers. I'm not sure why they put a $248 million battle cruiser to water at 34,000 tons and then neglected to put armor on it. Makes no sense to me. But this is a fuck around and find out situation, I guess. And the American shipbuilders will most likely adapt. So at that point, we'll have to start dealing with some bigger threats. There we go. There's the Franklin gone. There's all the battle cruisers gone. And the battle is won. So I said that's a good outcome. We have 49,000 victory points out of that one battle. I'll call that a win. Now that is definitely not it for the American fleet, because they still have 128 ships. They're not repairing a single one, but they're building another 27. You can see that the majority of those numbers are made up by smaller ships. It's 36 light cruisers and 46 DDs. But they're stretched a bit thin, as the US is working on, well, taking on pretty much the entire world. The only ones not at war are Italy, the Soviets, and the Germans. Everybody, oh, and the Spanish, but, well, they might do that soon. Let's not go for a peace treaty, let's go for an invasion. Hawaii, 30,000 tons, I should probably be able to do that. Now, I just need to get a little closer, and they don't have any further ships in the region. The problem, of course, is that some of my ships have taken some serious damage. They are immediately just snapped back to the ports for repairs. I still think that's a really weird mechanic, but okay, it's what the game has decided to do. Once I have Pearl Harbor, the next step is going to be to hurt the ports of San Diego, San Francisco, and Seattle. Because I do believe that, somebody said in the comments, the ports, especially port strength, so port capacity, means that an invasion is that much more difficult. And they have 3 massive ports over here. So if I want to have any chance of invading Western US, well, we're going to have to do a lot of port demolition first. As for the US itself, I was surprised to see that they have taken over southern Egypt. I mean, there is oil, so it's a pretty good chance that the Americans will turn up at some point. And they are now working their way towards Cyrenaica with an invasion force of 400,000 men. The Americans, I don't know, I'm not sure why they happen to go here, but it's actually working well for me, because it does mean that they have more territory that they have to defend somehow, and might allow me to go on the offensive against their commerce ships. Their economy is already hurting. It's -7% per year. So yeah, their economy is shrinking. I am getting close to being on par. I still have far fewer ships, and my armor logistics definitely isn't as good, but we could definitely work with that. Now, the Americans still have a small presence here, It's a battle cruiser and some escorts, but they used to have a far bigger fleet. I'm not sure where it went, because this is just one light cruiser. I'm going to take my war fleet, which happened to be over here. 3 battle cruisers, 3 battleships, and a couple of heavies. I'm going to also start putting those to work towards Pearl Harbor. This has to be the first stepping stone, because I can also use this to refuel. It's better to use this than to use either Kwajalein or Majuro. Because I do need to take on fuel. I do need to repair ships at some point. Now, of course, this is going to start eating into my budget by quite a margin. We're looking at a balance of minus 20 million a month, but I have 360 million in naval funds, so we should be fine. Also, I am still building a couple of the biggest battleships that I can. Where are they? Here. The Songlin and the Tauke Tok are both State Belt class. They're done in about 6 and 7 months. And that is going to give me massive amounts of money. I did, however, have to, at the moment, reduce my research spending because I can't afford to keep up the research. If I want to do max out my research, I'm going to be broke in a month. So let's not do that. And considering that my tech is more than enough to deal with the Americans right now, it's not that big of a priority. So let's continue with the invasion of Pearl Harbor and see if we can get this first stepping stone done. A couple months later, much to my surprise, Britain has been dissolved. I didn't see this coming. I really was not paying attention to anything happening in Europe. But the British Empire falling apart? That is pretty unusual. It means that there's a lot of really high-end territory that's up for grabs. I really hope that the AI doesn't know that well how to do naval invasions, because if all of this ungoverned territory is going to get taken over by the Germans, well, they already got a 1.6 trillion economy. It's only going to get bigger. They have growth. They're fighting the Austro-Hungarians. The Austro-Hungarians have... They got a tiny economy compared to that. They also only have 13 ships versus the Germans 117. I'm not sure what is going on with Germany, but once Germany starts moving, things can get deadly pretty quick. I think it's only for the best that the Germans right now appear to be my friends. How long that will continue, I don't know. Why they're not just taking over the rest of the world, I'm not sure about that either. But these guys have a massive, massive, massive economy. And if they're able to gobble up the entire British economy on top of that, well, life is going to get very, very difficult for everybody else in Europe. Pearl Harbor is ours. We have now gained control of Hawaii. And, oh, we can launch an operation into Fiji. Interesting, it only takes 25,000 tons. Why, yes. I would not mind taking Fiji, because that too is going to consolidate my grip on the South Pacific. The ships over here, well, that's not them. The ships over here can actually do that quite nicely. It's one battleship and its cruisers. We can send those over here to Fiji. They'll have to take what? They arrive in one turn? These ships can do 8,000 kilometers in a month? That's impressive. Okay, well, off you go then. In the meanwhile, I've spotted another opportunity. So China has a lot of ground forces. Like, if you get the opportunity to invade something, do so. Because their military power is very good. So all they need, really, is a foothold in the USA. And lo and behold, Southern Alaska is not that heavily defended. So what I'm going to do now is do another naval invasion in Southern Alaska. I do have all the firepower that I need there. And I have, what, one battleship, a couple of cruisers. I might need a bit more. And thankfully, at Pearl Harbor, I have a lot more. Because this is going to also add to that. So let's say I want to have another, oh, I don't know, a battle cruiser or two and a heavy cruiser go that way. No, not the heavies. The rest of you, we'll wait and we'll go and start, well, let's say massaging the news into Western USA that China is coming to town. I might also be able to do the same thing to Northern Alaska. It's not exactly a rich territory, unless you happen to find oil, but it does mean that I'll not have to worry about just land invasions going back and forth here. As for Canada, I'm not so sure if it's going to be possible to invade them. Aren't they my ally? No, they're not my ally anymore. Where's Canada these days? Oh, they're working with the Soviet Union. Does the US even have any allies? Nope, they got no allies. Okay. Well, sorry USA. That's going to be a hard sell for you. As for my money, 64 million negative. Naval funds, 275 million. But watch what happens when we finally ship out, no pun intended, one of those battleships. All of a sudden, our monthly balance is up. We're now actually gaining 12 million, and we have been paid handsomely for the pleasure of, I think, Indonesia to get one of the State Belt battleships. That's the one with 86,000 tons of displacement. How exactly they managed to afford it and how they can run it, I don't know, but they can. And so I guess they should. So that immediately solves all of my economic woes. And it also means I can start investing a bit more into research. I'll still not be able to go full 100% research because I would definitely go broke if I try something like that. Oh, there we go. They're taking control over a lot of areas. The Battle of Fiji is raging. We've lost 2 soldiers. They have lost 12. How is that going? Yeah, we should have this. Fiji is, again, not exactly a rich territory. The port of Suva, I can't even see it because it's neutral. As for the area here, I have way more territory, or way more tonnage than I need, so this too should go through. And we'll slowly but steadily start to dismantle the United States. Now, I'm potentially much more concerned about what's happening in Europe. Yes. Austria-Hungary has a bunch of ships here, and so do the Germans. Are they trying to invade Northeast England and or Eastern England? If so, this could be a massive problem. Oh, Southern England has oil? That's interesting. Unfortunately, I can't exactly make my appearance here too, because it would stretch my navy too thin. It's the objective to take the USA, not everything else, all at the same time. And I think trying to take the USA out is, well, probably plenty of challenge, as is. They're sending a couple of ships my way. Where are you going? The Yellow Sea. Right. You see, the US has been busy in Southern America. They have taken over Colombia, they've taken over Ecuador, they've taken over Peru. They tried to take Chile, I think, but Chile fought back and has regained its independence. But they definitely have a lot of ports over here, which could be another opportunity for me to invade some more. And with that, be able to use the land invasions to start gaining more and more and more territory. Now, this is a 50,000 ton port. That's not that easy to grab. Ecuador might be more feasible. It's only 9,700. But no, we're going to stick to the objective. We're going to start pushing into, let's say, Seattle. No particular reason. And start doing port strikes there. Because that way I can start weakening this port and make it ready for invasion. As we're preparing to do further operations in the area, one lonely American heavy cruiser has come in the area of the Lijiang. This is a light cruiser not designed to take on this level of threat. She's only armed with a couple of 6-inch guns. They are Mark IV, but their ability to pen anything is nothing. They're supposed to hunt down destroyers. They do, however, come with a secondary option. They have a couple of very potent 24-inch torpedoes. These things are hard to spot, especially if you don't have a hydrophone, as the Americans don't have. The problem with launching those torpedoes is going to be 1, getting into range, and then 2, launching them, trying to turn away, and then not getting the American ship kited into the wrong direction as I'm trying to disengage. The American ship is an interesting build. It's carrying a couple of 7.3-inch guns, and these are Mark IV, but they appear to have, well, it could be an optical illusion. They appear to have short barrels. So with that, their accuracy is probably a bit lacking. It's not the only thing they have, though. They also sport these torpedo launchers on port and starboard sides, and that's 5 torpedo launchers. That's not the only thing they have, of course. They have another set of torpedo launchers on the stern. They have a couple of 5-inch guns on the wings. They have 1.4s. Well, they got a lot of 1.4s. No aircraft carrier to be found in the game. But that doesn't stop the Americans from being very scared of coming under air attack. Now, I have quite a lot of torpedoes, so I might be able to torpedo these guys several times. I'm just not sure if the... Well, I'm actually rather sure. The Lijiang cannot take a hit from a 7-inch gun very well. She is, well... Let's say she has maxed out armor, which in the case of a light cruiser is 2.9 inches. It just does not do a whole lot. Let's stick to HE on all the guns, unless this thing happens to be another paper armored cruiser. Ow! Which I rather doubt. Oh, there's their torpedo launcher into action. Come on, pump the torps into the water. Thank you. That's all of them. Turn around. Yeah, and this is the problem. I'm now so inclined to turn around that I will, by doing so, influence the course of the American ship. It's going to try to follow me. It's going to try and potentially put some more pressure on me. And as such, these torpedoes, well, they might just, yeah, fall short. Most likely leading to the full destruction of the Lijiang, having done almost no damage to the Columbia. This is an interesting ship. Holy shit, 500 million for a heavy cruiser? What sort of space-age technology did you put on this ship? 500 million? She's driving at 30 knots. Okay, fair enough. You got electric steering, geared turbines, it's nothing special. You got stereoscopic 5 range finding, 19-inch torpedoes. You got a Citadel 5, okay. You got armor, only Crypt 2. That's surprising. I'm not really sure why this thing is so incredibly expensive, because it's not the stereoscopic rangefinder. Yeah, it adds up a little bit, but not that much. Not that much. Unfortunately, I think the issue is largely moot, because Lijiang is definitely not going to come out of this fight alive. Armor-wise, holy shit. 12-inch main belt. Even the superstructure has 8.5 inches on it. This is a fight that the Lijiang was never supposed to take. In hindsight, I probably should have just run away. Just turn tail, make sure that we disengage, and engage something that is a bigger suit, or a better fit for the light cruiser. Because this was not exactly what was supposed to happen. Now, remember that American fleet that was coming towards the Yellow Sea? They've arrived. That is another 4 battleships, a battle cruiser, and a whole slew of heavies. These, thankfully, are only sporting a couple of 10-inch, so once again, it's the more dated version of their cruisers. The light cruisers, though, with 6.4s, it's the Raleigh class from 1928, so they're definitely more modern, with their 40 torpedo launchers, 44 if you're counting the underwater ones. This is going to be a big fight, and I'll save that one for the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for more.